Tired of putting in 100 plus applications and not getting interviews? Worried that you might not land a job in this bad market? Then you are at the right place. In this episode of Mentara Mindscapes, we uncover strategies and hacks that help you land a job offer within few months of landing in the US. Hello everyone, I'm Avinash, the founder of Mentara, and you're watching Mentara Mindscapes, a podcast where I host international students from top global programs. In this episode, I have with me Aman. Aman is a friend from NIT Surathkal and is pursuing MEM at Duke University. He recently completed his internship at Micron Technologies, and today we'll learn about his journey of getting that offer. So now comes a very important and interesting part of the conversation. About your Duke journey. Like, now that you have had an intern you joined as a program manager intern at Micron Technology, and we have all been hearing about the bad market in the US. We have all been hearing of the layoffs that are happening across the world. I would love to know more about the career outcomes that the Duke MEM batch has. How's your journey been? And to begin with it, I would love to know about what does the majority of the MEM batch, what kind of roles do majority of the MEM batch gets into?
Right, okay. So first I'll cover what the majority of the batch gets into. There are a lot of roles, such as a lot of us like to get into product management, but that doesn't mean that you can only get you to product management. There are other jobs such as program management that I got into. Then there's project management, there's business analytics, there's business strategy. I know a couple of people who got into roles such as strategy and operations, business operations. So there are multiple roles. I always tell people that you can do anything with this degree provided you have the right prior experience or what you can sell on a resume. So
Yes.
that is one thing. And second thing, you asked about the layoffs, right? So the market is tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough, and that is why I made a very conscious choice to target internships. I mean, because I deferred my admit, I started applying for internships from May in India. When I was back in India, I started applying for summer internships for the next year. That's how soon it starts. So
Yes.
while we were talking about pushing in the right direction and in the right amount, for me, that was pushing about internships and taking a break by not engaging a lot into extracurricular activities. So that is how I kind of
Got it.
managed it. And I was able to get my internship in January. But a lot of people in my batch have also gotten internships. But truth be told, the market is hard. It's not, there was a golden era a few years back where everyone was getting high paying jobs and everything.
Yes.
The pay is still good. I think what I'm getting here is very generous and I'm fortunate, and a lot of my other folks are as well. But be prepared to grind harder. I mean, someone could have gotten it easier few years back because of the market conditions. It's not that great right now, to be honest. But it doesn't mean you won't be able to get anything, because a
Understood.
lot of my friends have gotten a lot of internships and great positions. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. And like you say, that if you work hard, luck will favor you. So you keep on
Yes.
doing the
True.
work, eventually it will fall into place.
Got it. So, could you give us some data on what's the internship placement rate of placement, as in not how it works in India, for everyone who is listening? If you're not aware, US has a very different way of getting jobs. Companies don't come and hire you based on your resume. You need to network, build opportunities for you, enter at the right time. There are any open opportunities. We can probably discuss on this in the next phase of our call, and also we'll have more sessions on what networking is and how you can do networking in the US or in general. So Aman, could you also give us some data on what was the internship placement rate for the Duke MEM students this year, given the tough market?
Yeah, I think, see, I have a lot of friends who have gotten into internships. So I would like to say more than 90%. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, maybe. But
Yes.
everyone that I'm talking to has an internship. If I'm honest, I know a couple who do not have anything. So that's a reality as well. I mean,
Got it.
if and I'm not saying that they didn't put in the work. They have put in a lot of hard work, maybe more than me. but maybe the luck didn't favor some of them. So, but based on what I've talked to people till now, I think it should be more than 85% for sure, and 90% if I'm to believe my gut intuition. So yeah.
Got it. So again, it's not just about, again, I guess everything in today in 2024 with lot of AI tools coming in, a lot of resources at your disposal. It's no more just about being there, just about putting in the applications. It's now more mature. It's now more, it requires you to be more skilled and specific. It's not just about putting thousands of applications. It's about how many cover letters did you put in with those applications. And the next funnel is how many customized cover letters did you create and put in those applications, the number of referrals you took, and a lot more about like putting in the job application. So as Aman mentioned, it's your previous experience, your learnings from the Duke MEM course, and a bit more of a few things here and there, and then a bit of luck combined all together. Then you land an internship or a full-time job in any part of the world, not just US has international student, but even in India today, if you want to make a switch, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So, Aman, like very similar to how you acted as a core placement committee member at NITK, there are career services team at different international universities. Could you please give us a brief of your experience on how the career services team at Duke MEM is? Is it helpful, and how has been your experience of working with them?
Yeah, so they actually released a course for us this time where we had to go and think about how we have to get our internships. That course was particularly helpful. The fact that it was for 1 hour and it was in the morning made it a bit hard for us because in winters it's very cold. So, but we managed, and they gave us some nice concepts about how should we network and how should we create a list of internship companies. That was good. Sometimes I also got into calls with some of the career service support as well. And if I'm being honest, if you have specific questions, they will be helpful. But if you don't know the direction yourself, it would be a bit hard for them to guide you as well. So I had on one call I was not specific and I didn't get the desired answers. But then when I got into another call and I had some specific questions, that call was much more productive. So I feel if you have your journey sorted, if you know the questions to ask, you will get the right support. And if not them, the Duke Alumni Network is always there to help you. The number of referrals I've gotten just from being Duke University from other Duke alumni has been really helpful.
To add on to it, I believe it's more of, there will be no hand holding for you. It's about how many opportunities you can create for yourself. Like referrals are just you trying to connect with people, having some meaningful conversation, and then making them believe that you can add value if they put in a word for you. So Aman, moving ahead, I would love to know about your application journey and like your journey to land an internship at Micron Technology. Like, could you give us a number on how many applications did you put in before you landed a role and an offer from Micron? Because I see there are now startups who are helping you to put in thousands of applications as an international student in the US. There are funded startups who are doing this, and they just like come in awe of like what's going on in the job market. Why are people putting blind applications to thousands of applications? Is it so bad, or is it just a way to increase your chances as an international student?
Right. So before I give out a number, I would just like to say one thing that I feel that quality of the application and luck both play a very important role. I know a lot of people who put in less than 10 applications and they got the internship because their resume was highly customized to what the job description wanted. So I think it depends on a lot of factors. But having said that, I applied to around 300 companies, 300 to 350, I would say. And I got like 3 interviews and I was able to convert Micron. So again, like number is not very important. Having those right sets of personalizing for your resume works for some people. And again, I would also like to say one thing, because everyone follows a different approach. Some personalize their resume, some do the mass applications, and some methods work for some don't. So it depends on you. I know a lot of people who have also applied to more than 1,000 companies. So yeah.
Could you please give us a walkthrough of the entire process of landing the role at Micron, right from the discovery till getting an offer, the steps that you followed? Probably you can brief about if you took a referral, how did you approach it? Where did you see how soon you applied after seeing the open opportunity, interview processes, how you prepared for it.
I applied for micro. So in winter, in my winter vacation, I actually went to India and I applied to like 5 or 6 companies in my home, and Micron was one of them. I saw the application on, I saw the job posting on LinkedIn, and I think there were 40 to 50 applicants. So I think I was an early applicant. But what worked for me was the fact that I had personalized my resume. I saw the job description and I realized that this is a lot of what I've done already. So I personalized it, and alongside that I also added a portfolio link on my resume, which was just linked as my story. And usually a lot of people just mention their work, the proof of work, and everything professional, which is very nice. But I wanted to stand out apart from the crowd, so I also mentioned some of the personal aspects, such as the values that I have in my life, what do I enjoy. I also put a section of my weaknesses, because everyone knows that you have weaknesses, but somehow we try to
Yes.
hide that during the application process. So I just wanted to communicate that I'm a very self-aware individual who knows the things that he has to fix. And I think that
Yes.
caught an eye of the recruiter. I had mentioned that I'm a huge believer in mama mentality. And my first question in my interview was, how do you use mama mentality in your day-to-day life? So it really depends. And I think they were impressed by the fact that I had also put in my weaknesses alongside the links to the work that I had done. So I think those were few things that separated me from the crowd. And I would obviously say that for companies you really want to get into, just put a link of your portfolio and try to make it a bit personalized if you can. I know it's a lot of work, but if you do it, maybe it'll pay.
Got it.
And
Got it.
just talk about the timeline. I applied on 4th January, got a call from them 1 or 2 weeks later. I had one call with the recruiter, and then the next call with the my hiring manager within a week. And by the end of January, I had the offer. So all of it happened within like 3 weeks.
Aman, you mentioned about tailoring your resume helped you land an internship at Micron. Also, you were like among the top, like at least the initial applicants, early applicants that probably helped you reach to the recruiters at the right time. Could you please give us some strategies or frameworks that you use in general to customize your resume or customize your cover letter to a particular company?
I think now it's very easy considering ChatGPT and Claude can help you with it. But if you want to do it yourself, that's what I did. I never took help from ChatGPT because I thought I was always better by doing it myself, and I was taking less time to just insert keywords here and there. First, you should just have a look at the job description and see if there's anything that is matching in your resume, right? So let's say if there's something related to market research. I have done something related to market research, but my point is something like I did market research to drive revenue by xxx, and in the job description the point is do the market research to build the product or something like that. So I would change that point by saying that I did market research to help in product building that led to a revenue enhancement by so and so, right? So it's always useful to understand the terminologies that they're using, the keywords that they are using, and put that on your resume. Keywords such as market research, product vision, customer success, customer empathy. So if you create those keywords, I think the ATS will catch that. And even if you then check your resume alignment with the JD on tools such as ChatGPT, they'll give you the right answer and they'll give you what you can improve. If there are tools mentioned, you can mention those tools in your skills and certification section, or you can also mention that as a point that you utilize pivot tables in Excel. If they want Excel, let's say if they want Excel, you can just mention a point related to Excel, what you have done. Like my internship required some data, some knowledge of Excel. So I'd put up a point related to how I use pivot tables back in my previous projects.
Could you also briefly touch upon the interview processes and how you managed it, like in terms of preparation, practicing mocks, and few things that you came across during the process?
Yeah, so I actually saw a couple of behavioral mock interview questions. So I had actually prepared a list of all the possible questions that could be asked already, and I had my answers related to it. So preparing for the interview wasn't that big of a problem. I always believe that as soon as people ask you to schedule an interview, schedule it as soon as possible. Because let's say if you take the 5th day and if they interview 3 candidates before you, they have a benchmark for you, and if you don't exceed it, maybe they have already filled it, or maybe they won't let you in. But if you're the first one, your chances are increased. So I took the closest date possible, which made me the first candidate for the interview. And I took help for the mock interviews from my friend at Duke. So she was very kind enough to do that for me. And after that, I think it was about behavioral questions for me majorly. And there was one question related to data because my internship also implicates a bit of data analytics. So it was about how I had used data in past. Apart from that, there were a bit of behavioral questions, but I wouldn't say they were generic because I think they had paid a lot of attention to the portfolio that I put. So it was very portfolio specific about how am I
Mm.
working on my weaknesses, about the mama mentality, the first question. So all of it was very personalized. Like the answers that I had prepared, they didn't work actually because the questions were a little different. So I think for behavioral questions, it's just very important to have 6 or 7 stories at the back of your mind that you can fix in any of the questions within the star format. It's very important to know the star format, which is situation and the task that you are assigned with, the action that you took, and finally the result. So if you have some of those stories at the back of your head, you will be calm enough. So I did that, and that helped me.
I guess you did a lot of things, right things at the right time. Probably standing out from the application, preparing all your stories beforehand, going into the interview, and practicing mocks and whatnot. So, this one crucial aspect of putting the application as an international student that I saw while I was trying to get in some international jobs and while I was trying to help a friend put in some of his application, like take off some workload in terms of applying. uh, there's a question at the end of every application. Do you need visa sponsorship? Yes or a no? And then there's a second question following up. Will you now or in the future need visa sponsorship? So as a student on like probably on a CPT or probably someone on an OPT or like STEM OPT extension, what should ideally be the answer to these questions? If you have some experience and you could walk us through it.
Yeah, so I think everyone has different answers to it. Some people say that if you know that the internship is not going to convert you for full time, you should say you don't need a sponsorship for the future. But I have always tried to play it a little safe. So I always said yes, because if at all they want to convert you later on, and if they figure out later on that, oh, you needed sponsorship, that would be a bummer for them. So, I mean, everyone says a different answer for this. A lot of people say yes, a lot of people say no. I always put yes. And it ended up working for me. And a lot of friends that I know, they also put yes, and they're in great companies like Lenovo and so on. So I think it works if you put yes as well.
Now that you know the secret sauce of standing out from the rest of the applicants, it's time to work on your networking game and get that internship and dream offer right now. Watch this video here to learn the art of networking as an international student in the US.